Fast forward. All right, so that's how you started rhyming. So tell me about how the Brand Nubian group got together.
All right, well, I started rhyming, and my father was from Harlem. He born and raised in Harlem. I remember he came home. Well, he bought me I remember I had the Sugar Hill Gang record and King 10 the Third record, and then he bought me a mixer. It wasn't even a crossfade, it just was an up and down mix. I remember I had two separate turntables. They wasn't even matching turntables. But I started doing that. I was DJing at 1st, or doing what I thought was DJing. You know, what I call myself DJing.
So you was DJ Dot?
I was DJ Dot, and I never forget what got me to do that was a guy came to my crib one time. My peoples had a cookout, and a guy came to my crib, and my mother and father had a lot of records. They had lots of records and 45s. And I remember he came in and was going through the records, like the 45s, and I was like, yo, you know, what you doing? And I mean, he was like, yo, you got some joints here. And I never forget, he put on Rock Steady by Aretha Franklin. And I remember he kept needle dropping. That's what he was called, needle dropping. When you pick it up and drop the needle down, he was needle dropping on it. And I was like, yo, from that point on, I was like, I got to be involved with this somehow. So,
tell me about how Pooh Bah and Lord Jamar, y'all.
Well, in Leschea, when we was coming up, Pooh Bah was a little older than us.
Okay.
So he was a member of a group before us called Masters of Ceremony. Even before then, he was a member of a group called Tray Bag MCs, and then he was just Grand Pooh Bah, you know, the Grand Pooh Bah. And, you know, they would have local parties in Leschea, and he was like one of the first, well, I would say that, to my knowledge, like the first rapper from Leschea who was able to go to other places and start doing parties. Mount Vernon, which was right next door to the Bronx, Manhattan. So he was doing parties, and, you know, we was looking up to Pooh Bah, and, you know, we would always, well, myself, because I was a solo artist, Lord Jamar was a solo artist. Okay. We lived on separate sides of Leschea.
Did y'all know each other?
Vaguely, but at first vaguely.
Of each other.
Yeah, I knew of him, and he knew of me vaguely. And then what happened was, you know, it was a place in Leschea like called the Library, and that's where everybody would go, and they would have ciphers. The younger guys like myself go around and have ciphers, and I met Jamar basically there rhyming, and I was like, well, damn, he's good too. You know, we good together. So we were solo artists, and what would happen was Pooh Bah would get some studio time, and he may give us we might get 8 hours at Jazzy J's studio, probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'll be like, look, I'm gonna break it up. I'll give Jamar 4 hours. I'll give you 4 hours.
So he singled out y'all too.
Yeah.
Okay. And you was with it.
And we was with it, and he was like, yo, whatever time, you know, I get studio, that's what time you got to go.
Okay.
So you might have to go to the studio at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to school the next day or go to work the next day. So it didn't matter. So, you know, we were doing that. And I created a demo package. Lord Jamar created a demo package, and Pooh Bah was taking it around town.
Okay.
Now, meanwhile, he was with his group, Masters of Ceremony. They had stopped working as a lot, and Pooh Bah, you know, he had the connections in the city, so somehow he hooked up with Dante Ross. Now, Dante Ross, when he hooked up with Dante Ross, Dante was at Tommy Boy then.
Okay.
And you know, he played. Pooh Bah played some of my stuff. He played some of Jamar's stuff, some of his stuff, and Dante was like, yo, listen, Pooh Bah, I want to give you a deal. And Pooh Bah was like, well, yo, I'm gonna bring my boys along with me. And
that's
you know,
dope.
He brought us along with it and came into Brand Nubian.
So you owe Pooh Bah a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He the one who set it off for everybody.
That's right.
Huh?
It definitely
so
is.
Y'all came and y'all got this deal, but the deal was with Tommy Boy?
The deal was with
Electra?
It was gonna be with Tommy Boy, but Dante told us to hang on for a minute.
Okay.
And once he was able to shift to Electra, we went to Electra Records.
Okay. And then y'all came with that classic.
Yeah.
One for All. And wow. Not only was the beats ridiculous. Oh.
All right.
Oh. A little vowels on that, maybe? Not only was the beats ridiculous, but a lot of times there was messages.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In your lyrics. And, you know, hip hop fans was walking around talking about they had knowledge of self and all of that during that time. Like, y'all was really educating us.
Yeah.
Y'all was actually considered like one of our hip hop teachers, you know, along with you and Poor Righteous Teachers, KRS-One, Chuck D. When y'all were like at the peak of your career, I gotta ask about these women, okay? Because I know the women was probably up in your dressing room, bucket naked, and all of that, and getting out of hand. Is that how the name Wild Cowboy came about?
Well, actually, Wild Cowboys came about from, that was an area that I was living in. My grandmother lived over there, and it was a group of people in that area.
Okay.
And this is Washington Heights.
Okay.
And you could do the research on that Wild Cowboys, and I took that name from that area.
It had nothing to do with the persona you were living.
No,
or
nothing with
no
the persona.
bucket naked. No,
nothing like that.
No.
Actually, Wild Cowboys was a notorious gang, notorious
Okay.
in the annals of New York history, gang history. And I met a lot of them dudes because they wanted to know who was calling themselves Wild Cowboy.
Okay.
So I met a lot of them dudes, and I took it from there. That was the time when I did the Wild Cowboys, when I was living in the Bronx. Where I lived at in the Bronx is funny because it's like a stretch. Like, it's Forest Projects right there. So that was AG. Then going down where I was at in my area, it was Cortlandt Avenue. It was Melrose, Jackson. That was Cortlandt Avenue. If they ever look at those specials, that was with Carlton Hines, Seatown. That was his area over there. Then going down a little bit, you got the Forest, Diamond, Show, Fat Joe, Finesse. All of them was in that area. So it was like an area. Like, I know, I used to play video games with AG. So it was I wanted to put that in there. I have Money Boss on there, which is Webster Avenue. Money Boss, Buck Wild did a lot of production. So that was basically, Wild Cowboys was a Bronx influence album, definitely.
Okay. I was just curious. I thought that had something to do with,
Oh, no.
sex, drugs, and rock and roll or something like that. Nothing like that?
Not like that, no.
Do you drink?
Yeah, I've been yeah. I don't drink as much now as I used to, but every now and then it can go left. But I don't drink as much as I used to.
Smoke?
Yeah, I smoke weed.
Not cigarettes?
Nah, not. For me to smoke a cigarette, I have to have been drinking a lot. I try to stay away from the cigarettes.
I don't understand like the smoking the cigarettes. Like,
Yeah.
what do people get out of that? Like, you can't get high.
And I think more at some point it becomes a mental thing because I think after a while you telling yourself when I drink I need a cigarette, it becomes like you psyching your mind out in a sense that you it's a mental thing, but physically. Sometimes you do crave it. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a crave. That's why a lot of people, have a hard problem with that addiction. Definitely.